Intuitives. Stupid camera's still hazy. It's less hazy than it was, so I guess I kind of fixed it, but I'm just gonna roll with it because I haven't had a video out in a few days with the way things are. So, hi, new subscribers. Thanks again for stopping by an unknown channel from an unknown person. That's very low budget, by the way, too, but thank you if you appreciate the information. It's why it exists. What I talk about resonates with you. Hopefully, you're receiving this information, at a younger age than I received it, and it can spare you a lot of pain, turmoil, trials, and tribulations that many INFJ types go through before they even realize what the fuck an INFJ is and learn that they're not the only one. So, topic I wanted to get into today, and it's a big part of being an INFJ. We do it all the time. And not just when we're alone either. Ooh, taboo. No, I'm talking about daydreaming. INFJs, we escape into our own heads constantly. It is, you know, in some ways it's a defense mechanism, in some ways it's just an escape, in other ways it's an escape of boredom. In other ways, it's how we put pieces of puzzles together and try to, find a way to form the path that we want to be on. So, why do we daydream? Well, INFJs always thinking, always overthinking. We're not shoot from the hip people. We're not live in the moment. We, analyze the shit out of everything and use our introverted intuition to subconsciously put the pieces of the puzzles together. I know I've said that before, but you can't say it enough for INFJs because NI is a mystery, even to Carl Jung, which I know I've also said before. But that is a big part as to what causes us to daydream. So in a way, our daydreaming combines the NI and the subconscious, and lighting's a little better. Okay, and what we try to do is somehow use that subconscious information we're getting between our NI and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together to see possibly how those pieces fit and to see if we act in certain ways and we'll work through certain, different scenarios in our daydreaming, see how it could potentially play out and if the scenario that we want to play out is probable to play out. I know that's not the easiest thing to follow, but I assure you it makes sense. And that is how, like, our overthinking, daydreaming, when we're trying to overanalyze, if we're going to do something, be it take a job offer, pick up and move, ask somebody out, we really overthink the shit out of that. But those are some examples of INFJs using daydreaming as ways to cope with overthinking. And another big one is boredom. We get bored, especially, in a very superficial, surfacey level, fake, materialistic environment like high school. Many times I remember in high school I'd be drifted off in my own head to the point where if somebody, I'd be staring at whatever was right in front of me and completely not being aware of it until someone spoke to me and would, almost bring me out of a trance-like state, and I would usually be unhappy because whatever I was thinking of deep in my head was, very real to me, and it was certainly better than being in that high school, because as we all know as INFJs, high school sucks. So we also daydream to escape boredom, to try to escape into a world in our heads that has substance and deep thinking and deep connections and things that we as INFJs value, to escape the mundane and the superficial and the things that, we have no want to even engage in, like who's going to prom and what sports ball team won. It's like, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, I just remember saying that a lot back in the day. And another big reason why daydreaming is so important to INFJs is, and this is the unhealthy one, it can be a form of dissociation to escape bullying, hazing, torment, exploitation, and things that the INFJ, for whatever reason may not want to speak up about at that time, but at the same time, they feel the need to escape it but also may have been coerced or made to believe that they must endure that torment to, quote, reach the promised land, to get to where they want to be. Like it's essentially like paying the toll that one must go through this torment and abuse, and once they get to the other side, you will finally have the dream job you've always wanted. Oh yes, well, at least that's what I was told. But I can mention some other prominent people who talk about similar things. But yeah, some of them are INFJs and ENFJs, but some aren't. Not important. But the point of this is that in that instance, the INFJ thinks that they can't speak up and that whatever they're going through has to happen, but they also have to find a way to survive it. So retreating deep into your head, almost to a point where you feel like you're physically not going through the abuse you're going through, that you're somewhere else, can be, an extreme form of daydreaming. I mean, or closer to dissociation, which I'm told is wildly unhealthy, but it is a tactic commonly used by INFJs escaping situations like that, particularly INFJ children. Whether it be child abuse or just like constant screaming, yelling of your parents fighting, an INFJ will quickly and easily develop that ability to dissociate and to escape deep within their own head, to escape that environment, particularly if they believe at that time that there's nothing they can do to change that environment. Makes sense? So, daydreaming is a big part of who we are, and not only in these three aspects, but it's not just in an abusive situation. It can also just be a general survival thing for INFJs. Like I said, not just in, as I said, in the more dissociative form where you're escaping abuse and wanting to feel as if you're physically not somewhere that you are, but also in a sense to give yourself hope, to come up with a scenario in your head, something positive, of something that can work out for you, like to reach a scenario where even after a long period of things straight up going to hell and you being lied to and cheated and taken advantage of and just never been given a fair shot, the idea that you can daydream a scenario in your head that not only would it make sense to combine all the bad shit you've been through, but also how do I say this? Extrapolate it to a point to where you can reach a quote end game that you're not only happy with, that would make you go, that was all worth it. Like to make it all make sense. Like this is why I had to go through all that. This is how I had to learn these lessons, and this is why that all has some meaning to it. And in the end, I suppose to reach this end, the one that you're daydreaming about, I would do it all again. And INFJs try to do that in their daydreaming in general, especially trying to make sense of fucked up shit they've been through. They'll try to, it's an idealist thing, think of some way in which it was important for the INFJ to go through that, be it to expose that person, be it to ensure that no others go through what they went through, things like that. They'll try to find meaning and purpose in even the darkest moments of their life and try to come up with a scenario in their mind where that abuse, that trial, that tribulation, that experience will be important down the road. And sometimes, of course, daydreams are just daydreams because INFJs love to go to things in depth. If there's a story or a piece of history that we're interested in, where the complete story isn't told, where it's fragmented, the INFJ with their introverted intuition wants to try to fill in the gaps the best that they can. I can tell you, I've had a lot of daydreams over the years about what exactly, possibly, maybe could have happened to Atlantis, of course. So sometimes daydreams are just out of pure curiosity and interest, and just that INFJ sense of wanting to know more, wanting to know the whole story. We typically do want to know the whole story. We enjoy hearing the details and trying to read between the lines and finding out motivations and things of that sort. In part, what makes us such good listeners. So sometimes our daydreams can just be out of pure interest and wanting to know more than the, synopsis or the Cliff Notes version of the story we've been told, and we want to know the whole truth, and we're willing to do the research to get it, and to run it through our intuition a time or 10 to see if there's any little details in those stories and those records that were left behind that maybe we can put a piece of a puzzle together, a piece that most people can't see, and who knows what that'll tell. So yes, for INFJs, daydreaming is a big part of our life experience. It takes many shapes and many forms, and we'll use it in many different situations for many different reasons. But remember, INFJs, trust your intuition even in your daydreams, because usually when you're, escaping the real world and still using your NI, those scenarios you're building in your head are trying to tell you something. And, as always, don't sell out your integrity even to make your daydreams come true.